Yo, what's up you guys? Welcome back to Second Take. It's Vishwa here, and today I'm going to be explaining why newly acquired Washington Wizards forward Kyle Kuzma is primed to break out this upcoming NBA season. Kuzma was arguably the Lakers' most hated player this season due to a lot of inconsistency, as he had been a liability on both ends often in his bad games. Kuzma also completely disappeared in the Lakers' lone playoff series versus the Phoenix Suns, which we will get into in a bit, and he has also made some interesting remarks about himself which irritated fans. But anyway, in today's video, I'll first discuss why Kuzma became so hated in the first place, and then transition to why he can come back from a setback to possibly break out with the Wizards. So without delay, please make sure to smash that like button, and remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I promise you will not regret it, and let's get straight into the video. To start off, as I just explained, I'll be discussing why Kuzma was so hated this season. This season, Kuzma averaged 13 points a game, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 44% from the field and 36% from 3. Throughout the season, Kuzma was able to flash a lot of potential off the bench with his ability to score the ball through driving it to the rack, a mid-range pull-up jumper, or off the catch from beyond the arc. He also improved on the defensive end heavily, putting up a career-best 107 defensive rating, which is above the league average. However, the biggest area Kuzma struggled with was his consistency. If you can just see this example from the month of May, Kuzma had games where he'd score in double figures and even 20-plus point games, but then he'd have games where he'd barely score at all within the 2 to 6 point range. It was similar to this for the entire season. He'd often completely disappear on the court, and either he didn't step up offensively when the team needed him to, or was incredibly inefficient in a lot of games. Kuzma was non-existent in the playoff series against Phoenix, as he averaged a terrible 6 points, 4 rebounds, and shot a horrendous 29% overall and 17% from 3, which pretty much solidified the hate he was getting from fans and caused the Shanghai Sharks memes. Another reason fans grew a deep hate for him is also because of how badly he declined from his first couple seasons. Kuzma also indirectly compared himself to Kawhi Leonard in a situation where he claimed that, similar to Kawhi having to wait his turn behind Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili, he also believed that, similar to Kawhi, he will be able to become a star player once, of course, LeBron finally goes out of his prime. And after these great aspirations, he seems to have taken a giant step back from his first couple of seasons, which is yet another reason Lakers fans who are really passionate and quick to jump to conclusions were hating on him. However, in my opinion, what fans have to realize is that Kyle Kuzma was in fact one of the best players in the 2017 draft class. In his first couple seasons, he was seen as one of the biggest steals drafted at only the 27th pick. In his first couple seasons, he averaged 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 34% from 3. But more importantly, he was playing in an environment that featured Lonzo Ball, KCP, Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Jordan Clarkson, and Larry Nance in his first year, which featured Kuzma earning a lot of minutes as a sixth man. And in the year after, when LeBron arrived and played the point guard role and the 2 when Lonzo was healthy, Kuzma got to start at the 4 next to Brandon Ingram, where he flourished off of a lot of good playmaking from LeBron. Unfortunately, even as Kuzma was having a career year, the Lakers didn't even make the playoffs due to the fact that LeBron simply couldn't work well with the young guys in order to get to title contention level. This resulted in the team trading practically all their young stars except for Kyle Kuzma in a package for star big man Anthony Davis, and that is pretty much where Kuzma's career started to go downhill. As the team had acquired AD, Montrezl Harrell, Avery Bradley, Danny Green, and Marc Gasol that offseason, Kuzma took a huge hit in his playing time, going from 33 minutes in the 2018-19 season to just 25 minutes in the 19-20 season, and had to come off the bench because LeBron prefers to play with veterans with more experience, and even though they may be less talented than Kuzma, they are more likely to blend in better with LeBron's playstyle. His shot attempts would also decrease from 15 to 11, and his point average also took a massive tumble from 19 points to 13 points a game. He also only started in 9 total games since AD joined the team. His bad playoff performance should not come as a reason to hate him, as even now we see that so many elite players just tend to deteriorate so badly in the playoffs and melt down, as seen in the pandemic P memes from last season, Julius Randle, Jimmy Butler, and Ben Simmons this season. Another reason Kuzma had it given for his terrible play for the Lakers in the past couple seasons was that he never really had a consistent defined role on the team, as he'd be able to do a bit of everything in some situations, but then he'd just disappear in other times. Although I'm not sure this really makes sense, as I think his role was supposed to be a bench spark, while LeBron and AD would command the starting unit, but you never know what he was feeling in the games he played and how he was used. Finally, Finally, in that same interview, Kuzma stated that he believes he can become a solid two-way all-star that can average 25 points a game, and said that it's hard to be consistent in an inconsistent role, which he had on the Lakers. And he also explained that he can definitely work towards becoming an all-star if he's given a consistent role due to how hard he knows he works. And there is a reason to believe this, as even though his offensive numbers have dipped due to what he claims as having an inconsistent role, his defense has actually gotten much better year by year, as he stated that he's able to guard positions 1 through 4 pretty well. Now I'll be discussing the situation Kyle Kuzma will be in the next season, and if a breakout season could be in hand on his new team, the Washington Wizards. As you guys know, Kuzma was traded along with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Montrezl Harrell and a draft pick for Russell Westbrook and 2 second-rounders. This was obviously a huge win for the Lakers, and you guys can check out a recent video I made on their side of the offseason, but as today's video is solely based on how Kuzma will fare in Washington. Firstly, it is surprising that the Wizards got this small of a return for a former MVP in Westbrook, but either way, the Wizards are clearly going into rebuilding mode, which consists of stacking up more draft picks and developing the existing young talent on the roster that they have. The team also signed Spencer Dinwiddie to a 3-year, $62 million contract. Before we dive into what I believe the Wizards' rotations will be and what role Kyle Kuzma will play, there is a constant discussion going on whether superstar Bradley Beal will get traded or not. A few weeks back, he did say that he wants to stay in Washington long term, but for all we know, that could just be a smokescreen, and he may end up requesting a trade soon. In my opinion, it is in Washington's best interest to trade Beal, as he clearly doesn't fit the direction the team is trying to go in, and it doesn't make sense if the Wizards want to compete for a playoff spot yet again, especially because they traded Westbrook. If Beal ends up staying on the Wizards, I likely see their starting lineup as Spencer Dinwiddie at the 1, Beal at the 2, Kyle Kuzma at the 3, Hachimura at the 4, and Thomas Bryant at the 5. If Beal gets traded, I would likely see the Wizards starting KCP at the 2 instead. Even though I likely see Kuzma starting, if he struggles heavily, it is important to keep in mind that the Wizards are absolutely stacked at the wing position and have several other young and old forwards that could be looking for more playing time, like Denny Avdia, Davis Bertans, the rookie Corey Kispert, and Chandler Hutchison. But with the starting unit of Dinwiddie, Beal, Kuzma, Rui, and Bryant, I would likely see the bench as Aaron Holiday at the 1, KCP at the 2, Corey Kispert at the 3, Davis Bertans at the 4, and Montrezl Harrell at the 5, with Daniel Gafford and the rest of the G Leaguers, no disrespect, in the 3rd string. However, if Beal does end up getting traded, it's hard to predict how the rotations would fold out, as you never know what the return package could be. But if it is just some raw talent and a load of draft pick, KCP would likely start at the 2 instead, and Gafford could also join the 2nd unit. But back to how Kyle Kuzma would fare, he is likely to have a much bigger load on the offensive end, with a bigger, more consistent role as well. If Beal stays, I think Kuzma will still be a pretty decent player, putting up 15 to 16 points a game, but if he ends up getting traded, I definitely believe that number could go up to possibly around 18 to 20 range, as he would likely be the number 1 or 2 scoring option on the team, once again depending on who the Wizards trade Beal for, with him and Dinwiddie being the primary offensive weapon. Kuzma would have a huge role on the team, being a defensive stopper, and what he had hoped for after the season for him to break out, a huge role consisting of playmaking and numerous scoring opportunities. It is evident that Kyle Kuzma has a lot of confidence in himself, as seen in his tweets and his interviews, to break out, and is working hard on his game. But transitioning from a contending team in LA with LeBron and AD to a lesser role to a young, rebuilding team like the Wizards could also allow us to believe that this is possible. Keep in mind that former young Lakers like Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, D'Angelo Russell, and Jordan Clarkson have also succeeded very well after leaving the Lakers. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. In my opinion, Kuzma is still 26 years old and is in a perfect situation to break out. Comment down below if a breakout season for Kyle Kuzma is in hand or not, and also comment down below some other ideas for future content and some feedback as well. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.